So today we are reading from Śrīmad Bhāgavatam, first canto, chapter number 13, Dhritarashtra's home, text number 28. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. 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 Ata Udicim Disham Yatu Svai Agyata Gati Bhavan Ita Arvak Prayasha Kala Pumsam Guna Vikarshana Atodichem Disham Yatu Svair Agata Gatir Bhavan Itor Vak Prayasha Kala Pumsam Guna Vikarshana Atodichem Disham Yatu Svair Agyata Gatir Bhavan Itor Vak Prayasha Kala Pumsam Guna Vikarshana Ata Therefore Udrashim northern side Disham direction Yatu please go away Svai by your relatives Agyata without knowledge Gati movements Bhavan of yourself Ita after this Arvak will usher in Prayasha generally Kala time Pumsam of men Guna qualities Vikarshana diminishing. Translation and purport by His Divine Grace Srila Prabhupada. Please therefore leave for the north. This is Vidura instructing Dhritarashtra very wisely. Please therefore leave for the north immediately, without letting your relatives know, for soon that time will approach which will diminish the good qualities of men. Purport. One can compensate for a life of frustration by becoming a Dida, or leaving home for good, without communicating with relatives. And Vidura advised his eldest brother to adopt this way without delay, because very quickly the age of Kali was approaching. A conditioned soul is already degraded by the material association, and still in the Kali Yuga, the good qualities of a man will deteriorate to the lowest standard. He was advised to leave home before Kali Yuga approached because the atmosphere which was created by Vidura, his valuable instructions on the facts of life, would fade away due to the influence of the age which was fast approaching. To become Narottama, or a first-class human being, depending completely on the Supreme Lord Sri Krishna, is not possible for any ordinary man. It is stated in Bhagavad Gita 7.28 that a person who is completely relieved of all taints of sinful acts can alone depend on the Supreme Lord Sri Krishna, the personality of Godhead. Dhritarashtra was advised by Vidura at least to become a Dhira in the beginning, if it were impossible for him to become a sannyasi or a narottama. Persistently endeavoring on the line of self-realization helps a person to rise to the conditions of a narottama from the stage of a Dhira. The Dhira stage is obtained after prolonged practice of the yoga system. But by the grace of Vidura, one can attain the stage immediately simply by being willing to adopt the means of the Dhira stage, which is the preparatory stage for sannyas. The sannyas stage is the preparatory stage of Paramahamsa, or the first grade devotee of the Lord. Vandeham Shri Guru Shri Jata Palakamalam Shri Gurun Vaishnavamscha Shri Rupam Sagrajatam Sahagana Raganitam Vinamdam Sajivam Sudaitam Savadutam Parijana Sahitam Krishna Chaitanya Devam Shri Radha Krishna Padam Sahagana Ladita Shri Vishakanvitam Shra Namam Vishnu Padaya Krishna Prestaya Bhutale Srimate Bhakti Vedanta Shamaniti Namine Namaste Sarasvate Deve Gaudavani Pracharine Nirvishesha Shunyavadi Paschanja Deshatarine. So, there are unlimited lessons to be derived from this verse and purport. So we will look at some of them this morning. One point is, as Prabhupada points out here, he was advised to leave home before Kali Yuga approached, because the atmosphere which was created by Vidura, his valuable instructions on the facts of life, would fade away to the influence of the age which is fast approaching. So the point is, the association of a saintly person creates an atmosphere. And when one has that chance to get that association, one should take full advantage of it, because it will fade away in due course by the influence of the age of Kali. That sadhu sangha is a very, very essential item. And on the path of bhakti, the first item is shraddha, or faith. And then, if one has that faith, that is called preliminary faith. If one has that faith that there must be something beyond this material existence. This couldn't be, God couldn't be so cruel that this would be all there is, you see, this material existence. There has to be something beyond it. When one has some faith, there is something beyond this place, then by the grace of the Lord, one has the association to associate with a sadhu. You may get a book, you may attend a lecture, something, a festival, somehow or other you'll come in contact with the sadhus, you see. And this sadhu sangha, this association of sadhus, is so important thing, you see. There's an old saying, don't look a gift horse in the mouth. So when one gets that association with a saintly person, one should take full advantage of that association. I sometimes quote Bill Gates describing how he made his fortune. He was just a young, nerdy Harvard dropout, playing around with software, but he got the contract for the IBM PC, the operating system. So he said, if you find yourself at the right place, at the right time, take massive action. So, we have gotten Prabhupada's association, and in the absence of Prabhupada, we have the association of his wonderful devotees, and the devotees of his devotees also. So this is actually Prabhupada's Shakti, Prabhupada's potency through his disciples, grand disciples, you see. So this is a very, very special thing. It's a very, very special thing. So we should take full advantage of that. Take absolutely, complete, total advantage of that association. Prabhupada Sangha coming directly and indirectly to us, you see. Because if you think, well, later on, now I have to make money, I have to do this, I have to do that. Later on I'll take up self-realization process, you see. Well, the age of Kali is acting, is deteriorating the finer qualities of men more and more at every second. It's deteriorating more and more every second. So one should not waste this opportunity. When one has this opportunity to actually connect with Krishna, to connect with Guru, to connect with sadhus, one should capitalize on this opportunity and reap the benefit. What is that benefit? Krishna. You get Krishna. If you have Krishna, you cannot be lacking in anything. Because actually Krishna is the source of everything. Everything is within Krishna. Krishna is within everything. If you have Krishna, you are not lacking in anything. So one gets this opportunity to actually attain Krishna consciousness. One should realize this is the greatest good fortune. It's greater than winning $1 billion lottery ticket. It's greater than becoming Lord Brahma. Even having the post of Brahmaji is nothing. It's tiddlywinks compared to the opportunity for prema bhakti. So if one has this opportunity, you should fully capitalize on it by taking very seriously this process to revolutionize the consciousness, to purify the consciousness. Therefore, one takes the next step, that is called bhajana kriya, to become initiated into this process. Follow the pathway of the sadhus, sadhu marga. Do what the sadhus do. Give up illicit sex, give up meat eating, intoxication, and gambling. Take up the regular chanting of the names of God. You see, that is the sadhu marga. And by this, then the dirt in the heart, the anarthas, the lust, the anger, the greed, the madness, the illusion, the envy, gradually, they're cleansed out of the heart. It's a struggle. It's a real struggle to conquer these enemies. But I recently read in our Vedabase, Prabhupada was saying that after anartha nivritti, the process is automatic. That's pretty enlivening to hear that. Here we are struggling to get free of these anarthas. But once we get through this stage, anartha nivritti, Prabhupada said it's automatic. There's a light at the end of the tunnel. You see, here we are struggling. We're lusty, we're angry, we're greedy, we're envious, all these dirts, you see. But if we keep pushing on faithfully, onward through the fog, if we keep pushing on regularly, chanting, going out for preaching activities, book distribution, deity worship, honoring prasadam, hearing, chanting with devotees, we take up these wonderful activities that are to the great blessing of Srila Prabhupada upon us. And gradually, all of this horrible, wicked contamination, which has been forcing us to take birth after birth after birth in this material world, will be cleansed away. So, don't postpone the path of bhakti. Dhritarashtra had enough brains that he didn't postpone it. He took full advantage of Vidura's association. Vidura gave him that little push, and he said, okay, I'm going to go with it. See? So when the sadhu pushes us, we should go with it. But he very kindly pushes us a little bit, gives us that nudge, you see. We shouldn't resist out of false pride. We should understand our position. We're very fallen, you see. So that's the sadhu gives us that push, we should go for it. Okay, I'm going for it. You see. That's a very nice lesson from this one point. Another point is leaving home without informing anyone. Sometimes one has to do that. Mom and Dad, I'm going to join the Hare Krishnas. No, you can't. I won't let you. Sometimes the devotees have to, you just ignore your parents and just do it, right? Can't say, don't I have your permission to become a Hare Krishna monk, Mom and Dad? They may say, my grandmother said, why didn't you become a Christian minister? So one has to do the needful. Even if one's family doesn't approve of it, you have to do the needful. You see, he didn't inform anyone. He just took to it. You see, if you inform everyone, they may try to talk you out of it. The point is, we only have one obligation, and that is to Krishna. Sarva dharman pariryaja. You see, only one. All other duties, pariryaja. Give them up. Give up every other activity, every other duty, out the window. Simply this one duty, Krishna consciousness. That's our only responsibility, our only duty. Other duties can be acted out, that's all right. But they are connected with the ultimate duty. We have to earn a livelihood, we have families, some of us. You do those duties, but you understand these are all being utilized for my only one real duty, which is surrender to Krishna. That's what they're all being used for. If you get sidetracked by the other duties and give them more importance than Krishna consciousness, you're in trouble. You're in big trouble. Even at the time of death, you may feel that's more important than Krishna consciousness, and that will oblige you to take birth again in this material world. So we have to watch our consciousness, and we have to always make sure that we're prioritizing surrender to Krishna over everything else, at every minute. With all of our thoughts, our words, and our deeds, we're always prioritizing surrender to Krishna. Because it's that consciousness that's our ticket to Goloka. You see, that consciousness. Prioritizing surrender to Krishna is the only duty, surrender to Krishna. Prabhupada says here, to become Narottama, or a first-class human being, depending completely on the Supreme Lord Krishna, is not possible for any ordinary man. Well, then what about us? Here we are, ordinary men. What are we going to do? We require extraordinary mercy. We require extraordinary mercy. Here we are, ordinary men. It's not possible for ordinary men. We're all ordinary men in this Kali Yuga. We're Kali Yugites, very ordinary men. So therefore we require extraordinary mercy. If somehow or other we can come to this transcendental position. Extraordinary mercy. And that is our Srila Prabhupada. Such amazing, extraordinary mercy of Srila Prabhupada. How he came here, engaged all these young hippies in bhakti. It's just absolutely amazing what Prabhupada did. How he attracted all these young hippies. Almost all of us were hippies in the early days. There was a few non-hippies. Sadhaputta was not a hippie. Most of us were hippies. He was a scientist, and he knew that smoking marijuana would be bad for his brain, so he wouldn't touch it. But most of us were hippies. It's amazing how Prabhupada attracted all of us hippies. and engaged us in this the movement of Sankirtan movement of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. He said we were turning the hippies into happies. And the fact we became very, very blissful by this wonderful, wonderful process of Krishna consciousness. We were looking for happiness here, looking for happiness there, we could not find. But here, now we've gotten the formula how to always be happy at every minute. Not only happiness, but ever-increasing happiness. Anandam buddhi vardhanam. An ocean of ever-increasing happiness. Prabhupada bestowed upon us, you see. You can feel happy today, and even more happy tomorrow, and even more happy the next day. It just goes on increasing, increasing, increasing. As we dive deeper, 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 deeper into nama ras, which is the key to Krishna consciousness. Developing a taste for the name. It all hinges on that, actually. And of course the name, but a side note, a very important side note, the taste for the name can only manifest to the degree that we develop loving relationships with Vaishnavas. Because the granddaddy Namaparad, the big Namaparad, the Hati Mata Namaparad, is to be offensive toward devotees. So one can develop nama ras only to the degree that you have developed sadhu sangha ras. You see, how much are you relishing and entering into the mellows of loving relationships with devotees? So that goes along with nama. You see, that's part of the deal. It's not nama alone; it's nama and sadhus. You see, it's a package deal. The devotee association and the name association. Because the name is Krishna himself. Is it just some sound vibration? No, it's Krishna himself. Krishna. It is Krishna. You see? So you can't have Krishna by himself. You have to have Krishna with his devotees. That is confirmed in the Adi Purana. Ye me bhakta jana parata, no me bhaktas tate janaha, mad bhaktanam che ye bhaktas, te me bhakta tamamata. My dear Arjuna, the one who is my devotee, no me bhaktas, he is not my devotee. But the devotee of my devotee, he is my devotee. So we want to be devotee of Krishna, we have to become the devotee of the devotees. You see? So, that nama ras, that sadhu sangha ras, they are parallel track. We have to develop loving relationships with devotees, and as we are doing actually they feed into each other. The more you dive into the name, you become more inspired to associate with devotees, and the more you associate with devotees nicely, the more you're inspired to chanting. They feed into each other. They're complementary. And especially nice is when all devotees chant together, the Sankirtan, you see. And see, it was more powerful when we go out and distribute Prabhupada's books. That's the greatest Sankirtan of all. We work together to distribute these books of Srila Prabhupada. So that the distributing the name and the association with devotees, all offered in love to Srila Prabhupada, and having a loving relationship with Srila Prabhupada, all these things, they feed into each other, they complement one another. And then the name becomes sweeter, the preaching becomes sweeter, the book distribution becomes sweeter, everything becomes sweeter, 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 sweeter. But in the beginning, there's poison. Sometimes we don't feel like preaching, sometimes we don't feel like distributing books, sometimes we don't feel like chanting, you see. That's because we're suffering from a disease called avidya, ignorance, described by Rupa Goswami, you see. Sat Krishna nama charitare satapya vidya pato patapta prasanasha narochikanu Kindvadadadanudidam kadushaiva jushta svadvi Karmad bhavati natad mula hantri. The holy name, character, pastimes, and activities of Krishna are all transcendently sweet, just like sugar candy. Although the tongue of one who is afflicted with the jaundice of ignorance, of vidya, cannot taste anything sweet. If one carefully chants these sweet names every day, then a natural taste awakens within his tongue and his disease is gradually destroyed at the root. So we have to be patient. We have to just have faith in Srila Prabhupada, even when we don't feel like doing something. We don't feel like preaching, we don't feel like distributing books, we don't feel like getting up for Mangalarti, we don't feel like chanting, we don't feel like cooking the offering, we just do it because Prabhupada said we should do it, you see. He's our doctor, our physician, and he's given us this medicine. Even though may not always feel like doing it in the beginning stage, neophyte stage. But by faithfully taking that sugar candy, even though it tastes bitter, faithfully, every day, you see, chanting, preaching, cooking, all the services Prabhupada has given us. By taking these activities and dutifully doing them faithfully, without deviation, day after day, week after week, month after month, year after year, decade after decade, we're prepared to go life after life, if need be. If Prabhupada, if we're not qualified, we'll just do this life after life. That's our conviction, you see. Those who are dedicated followers of Srila Prabhupada, there's no conditions. All they know is, I have to serve Prabhupada's instructions. That's all I know. No, nothing else. Absolutely nothing else. That's all I know. So one sticks to this pathway. Then lo and behold, sure enough, it works. The chemistry works. You see, I'd say it's a chemical thing. The sugar candy and the bitterness, it's all chemical things. But there's a spiritual chemistry also. You see, the spiritual chemistry also is just as scientifically that bitter sugar candy through chemical transformations becomes sweeter, sweeter, sweeter. There's also a spiritual science, a spiritual chemistry, which will, in fact, transform the bitterness that one may feel in the beginning to the sweetest nectar, sweetest juice. You see? Parama rasa. You see? It becomes so sweet to preach, so sweet to chant. Everything just becomes so relishable and nectarian that one can feel they're just swimming in an ocean of ecstasy 24 hours a day, you see. That stage will come for us, those of us who are neophytes like me. We have the faith. That day will come when we're just swimming in an ocean of unlimited nectar at every minute. All we have to do is remember Vidura's push to do this process, you see. Do not postpone, you see. Immediately, you see. Please, therefore, leave for the north immediately without letting your relatives know. For soon that time will approach which will diminish the good qualities of men. So now I can ask if there's any questions.
You said
Huh?
we just need extraordinary mercy.
We sure do. We call you guys, we need a lot of extraordinary mercy, that's a fact.
Only the extraordinary mercy will do it?
Well, if you're already a great transcendentalist, then actually even they feel they depend on the extraordinary mercy.
My
Huh?
point is, I'm asking that only extraordinary mercy will deliver us, or are we supposed to do something about it?
Oh, yeah. I'm just going to sit here, pop glove jamuns all day and just give me the extraordinary mercy. Now, actually, to connect with the extraordinary mercy of Srila Prabhupada and those who are representing him so wonderfully, to connect with that extraordinary mercy, we have to do something. Just like the patient who's ordered to take the sugar candy, he says, well, thank you, my dear physician, you give me this wonderful prescription. This is your extraordinary mercy. You have this wonderful prescription in my hand now, how to get free from jaundice. I'm going to go home and pin it on my wall and just appreciate this wonderful, extraordinary mercy I've gotten, the prescription. Take the sugar candy, rascal. Follow the prescription, you see. Don't just pin your prescription on the wall. Wow, what extraordinary mercy I've gotten. But now you do your part. You take the sugar candy, you see. Follow the order of the spiritual master. Preach, distribute books, chant Hare Krishna, cook offerings, worship the deities, this wonderful movement that Prabhupada has given us. Start farm communities, protect the cows, this wonderful society. We have to implement it. We have to follow Prabhupada's instructions. Otherwise, that extraordinary mercy is just like in one ear and out the other. You see what I'm saying? We're not connecting with the mercy unless we surrender to the instructions of the spiritual master. And then we're connected with the mercy. I remember we had one boy, very nice young man from Sri Lanka, here in Austin a few years back. He bought a whole set of Bhāgavatam, and boy, was he fired up. He was reading it and coming and telling us the latest thing that he just read. Well, we said, why not, here's some japa beads, why don't you also chant along with reading? He said, oh, no, I don't want to chant. I just want to read. Well, about halfway through, he lost his steam. That was it, finished. So we have to do something from our side also. You see. We hear, that's the first thing. Okay, but now you chant. You see. That means japa, that means kirtan, that means going out for preaching activities. This is chanting. Hearing and chanting are the foundation of our movement. And an insider secret is the more you can distribute the extraordinary mercy, the more you get it. So therefore we should think, how can we make the whole world Krishna conscious? One person at a time, you see. Let me see how I can spread this movement. Can I tell my friend about Krishna consciousness? Can I tell this stranger about Krishna consciousness? Can I give this person a book? You see, let me see what I can do to share this extraordinary mercy, because the more you give Krishna, the more you get Krishna. Anything else? Yes?
In the purport it mentioned Bhagavad Gita 7.28 that a person who is completely relieved of all taints of sinful acts can alone depend on the Supreme Lord Sri Krishna. Can you expand on that a little bit?
Can you help me understand what she's saying?
7.28.
You're reading from this purport? Okay. Expand on that sentence?
Yes.
Yeah.
7.28 from Bhagavad Gita is mentioned there.
That a person is completely relieved of all taints of sinful acts can alone depend on the Supreme Krishna. How to expand on that?
Yes.
Okay. This is why Prabhupada told us to follow the four Bhagavad principles. Because as long as you engage in sinful activities, you may be chanting Hare Krishna, but you're not going to get so much benefit, because it's like lighting a fire with one hand and pouring water with the other hand. Your fire is not going to get going as you keep pouring water on it. So sinful activities means we're pouring water on that fire. So if one will give up sinful activities, at the same time take up the activities of bhakti, hearing, chanting, etc., then you'll get a blazing fire of bhakti within your heart. You get transcendental realization, you'll feel uplifted, you'll feel rejuvenated, you'll feel how you're being transformed. But if you continue to engage in sinful activities, it's like spinning your wheels, you're not going forward. So that's why it's very important to give up these sinful activities. Because sinful activities pollute our consciousness. They blind us. We actually, if one engages in sinful activities, he actually thinks it's fun. He actually thinks it's enjoyable. He becomes so blinded, even though it's the most miserable, hellish thing to be victimized by sin, to be a slave of sinful activities, a slave of lusty desires. It's the most hellish, nightmarish condition to be in, but he thinks he's happy. Someone just wrote me a letter. I quoted an email from my e-course. I was quoting the principle that lust, greed, and anger are the gateway to hell. He said, but no, I enjoy these activities. I enjoy having sex with my girlfriend. How you can say it's the gateway to hell? That's not fair. I mean, but I explained to him that actually you're already in hell. You see? You're already a captive of these things. You're already in a hellish condition. But and then he wrote back, he just doesn't understand it. He really thinks he's happy in that position. But I told him, you're simply blinded by this. You don't know what is real. Because you do not know what is real happiness, therefore you're thinking this is happiness. You see? So, as long as one is addicted to sinful activities, they will think, who are these crazy Hare Krishna people? I mean, they must be miserable. I mean, they don't have illicit sex, they don't take intoxication, they don't go to McDonald's. God, my God, they don't drink Budweiser. I mean, they must be really miserable people. They can't even take LSD or smoke marijuana. Boy, they must be really miserable people. You see, they become blinded by sinful activities. Make you blind. They kill your sensitivity for the suffering of others. Also, they bleed away the feeling of compassion for others. That's why these people eating meat, they have no sense of compassion for the cows. They have no sense of compassion for the cows. You see, this bloodlust for that eat blood and the flesh and bloodlust that they relish eating their double cheeseburgers from McDonald's. It make them completely blinded to the suffering of the cows, you see. They've become totally blinded by this stuff. So that's why, our restaurants are a very good thing, Krishna conscious restaurants. Let them get a taste of prasadam and give up. The more they can give up sinful activities, the more they can become sensitive, philosophically sensitive, sociologically sensitive. It's very important that these sinful activities can be eradicated. Even if we could just close all the slaughterhouses on this planet right now, this world would go through an amazing transformation. The whole planet would become peaceful. The karma from killing these cows is creating an absolute hell on this planet right now, a nightmare. And it's getting worse at every minute. Every cow they kill, the atmosphere is going down, 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 down. So these sinful activities, they have to be given up. Because then one can actually get some higher understanding. But how will they give it up? They're addicted. Therefore, we have this chanting, dancing, and feasting. We have these wonderful books of Srila Prabhupada. They're full of juice, they're full of life, they're full of nectar. So by coming in contact with these things, Vishaya vinivaratante niraharasya dehina rashavarsham yasopyasha parang vistvanivartate. The embodied soul may be restricted from sense enjoyment, though the taste for sense objects remain. But ceasing such engagements by experiencing a higher taste, he is fixed in consciousness. So our mission as preachers of the Krishna consciousness movement is to somehow make the arrangements that these people can get a higher taste. Because there's no question of giving up sinful activities if that's all you know. Because everybody wants to be happy. That's all they know. If they're slaving all day in the factory, all they know is a six-pack in the evening and a prostitute. That's all they know. You see? So we have to give them this higher taste by preaching with. We read a few purports ago that it is by good luck that one can come to this position, Krishna consciousness. It's amazing. Prabhupada said it's by good luck. And I remember one of my godbrothers, he was on a morning walk with Prabhupada in the UK many years ago. And Prabhupada was saying it's by good fortune that they can come to Krishna consciousness. It takes good fortune, you see. Brahmanda Brahmite Konna Bhagyavan Jeev. That's by good fortune. One who is fortunate, who has good luck. So he was wondering, well, how does that work, Prabhupada? He was wondering, is it like the roll of the dice, or how is it? Prabhupada said, we are their good fortune. So that is our duty, is to be representatives of Srila Prabhupada, Lord Chaitanya, and to bring that good fortune to these people, you see. By giving them this knowledge, Krishna consciousness. By giving them the opportunity to hear the holy name, to chant the holy name, to taste prasadam. This is our duty. We are meant to be their good fortune. That means we have to be Krishna conscious. We have to ourselves be fixed nicely in Krishna consciousness. So that when we contact someone, we can inspire them to be Krishna conscious. How you can make someone Krishna conscious if you're not Krishna conscious? You see, we have to be Krishna conscious. And by carefully chanting these sweet names every day and following these wonderful teachings of Prabhupada, then we will dive deeper, deeper, deeper into this nectarian ocean. Krishna Bhakti Rasa Bhavita is the Sanskrit, Krishna consciousness. We will dive deeper and deeper into this Krishna Bhakti Rasa Bhavita, Krishna consciousness. And then when we tell people about Krishna, they'll go, wow, that's the most amazing thing I've ever heard in my life. You see? So it's our duty to help these people we must be free from sin. And in that purified state of taking shelter of Krishna and trying to act as an agent of Krishna, then Krishna can act through us to inspire them also to become free from sin and take up this process. So there's a little expansion on that sentence. Anything else? Parameshvara Prabhu.
Well, I remember hearing, I naturally gravitated towards book distribution, finding a lot of this special mercy there. And I heard a lecture from TKG about how, we're just not getting enough just by chanting. Something of this nature that we have to get involved with preaching, and book distribution is a wonderful method that Prabhupada's set up so that we can get this special mercy. And I was wondering how much validity is to this. And
that's absolutely the most valid principle. Because there's two types of devotees. There's Bhajananandi, who's just interested in his own liberation, and there's Goshtianandi, who's interested in liberating everyone. So, this Goshtianandi is Prabhupada's mood, is the mood of Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Thakur. It's actually even the mood of Gorkashars Babaji, although externally he's showing himself as a Bhajananandi. It's the mood of Bhakti Vinod Thakur, it's the mood of Lord Chaitanya. One has to be in this mood of distributing this mercy. This is our Chaitanya's movement. Lord Chaitanya's movement means to bless every single jiva soul in this entire material world with Krishna consciousness. So if we're actually going to, if you want to be Krishna conscious without it, it's like you're ignoring Lord Chaitanya. You're trying to be a Krishna conscious without Lord Chaitanya. Good luck. You won't make it. We are in the line of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. We are Chaitanyaites, you see. We are in the line of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. In fact, if we don't accept Chaitanya Mahaprabhu as Krishna, even when we accept Krishna, we're considered a demon. It's described in the Chaitanya Charitamrita. If one doesn't accept Lord Chaitanya, you're a demon. So we have to take this mood of Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. This is how we become connected with Krishna. And it's confirmed in the Bhagavad Gita also. There is no one more dear to me than the preacher, nor will there ever be anyone more dear. Krishna consciousness means to become dear to Krishna. That is Krishna consciousness. The more Krishna becomes dear to you, the more you become dear to Krishna. So if you're not becoming dear to Krishna, that means you're doing something wrong. You're not endearing yourself to Krishna by your daily activities, by your thoughts, by your words, by your deeds. If you're not endearing yourself to Krishna, you are doing something wrong. That's a fact. So how do we endear ourselves to Krishna? By preaching. It's stated right there in Bhagavad Gita. You see? The more we distribute this mercy of Krishna, the more Krishna is happy. Krishna is actually, especially in his form of Lord Chaitanya, he is in great transcendental anxiety to see the suffering living entities in this material world. As described in the Chaitanya Charitamrita, he is in great anxiety to see the suffering of the conditioned souls here, and those who take up the mission of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu to deliver these people, they are they're relieving some of the anxiety of Lord Chaitanya. So that's, just like we've gone through some heavy stress here with our house getting burned, the house temple getting burned, so many things. But so many people have stepped forward to help in different ways. They become very dear to us automatically. We're going through this intense hassle, and all the people are coming forward, they're helping in so many ways. The loving feelings become very strong in such a situation. So that's the situation. The whole material world is on fire, you see. So Lord Chaitanya is trying to put out that fire. So those who come to help Lord Chaitanya in his endeavor to put out this fire, they become very, very dear associates of Lord Chaitanya. Of course, we don't realize it yet. We're just, we're covered, but that day will come, and we'll see how we'll actually have a personal relationship with Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. We'll be able to reciprocate with him. And with Krishna. Prabhupada told me in one letter, because I used to write, actually when I joined ISKCON, everybody could write Prabhupada. It was really nice. Any devotee could write Prabhupada a letter. That was okay when I joined. So then the policy was changed because Prabhupada was getting overwhelmed with all this growing movement, so many letters coming in. Where's the time to do the translation? But I'd already written Prabhupada a little bit, and I was honestly addicted to Prabhupada's being able to write Prabhupada and get an answer. So I took a chance. I had a question, burning question, and I took a chance and I wrote Prabhupada. And I didn't put my name on the return address, so it might get through the secretary's radar or whatever. And sure enough, it got to Prabhupada, and Prabhupada answered my letter. He told me, you should ask your local leaders. He told me the standard policy. But then he gave me the most wonderful instruction. Of course, he answered my letter, and he'd say, if there's any urgent need, I'm always happy to hear from my beloved disciples. So I had a loophole. I could write Prabhupada if I had an urgent need, even though the official policy was, don't write Prabhupada. I had a loophole that Prabhupada gave me. I could write him. Of course, I stopped after a while. I got a little more, slightly more matured in Krishna consciousness. But he gave me the most wonderful instruction in this letter. He said, if you will engage with full sincerity of the attitude, if you will engage 24 hours a day with full sincerity of attitude in Krishna consciousness, then Krishna will personally come to you and answer all of your questions. So actually, that's there, available for us as we become completely mature in Krishna consciousness. We can have direct reciprocation with Krishna and direct reciprocation with Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. So we should take advantage of this opportunity to become dear to Lord Chaitanya, because that day will come when we can personally reciprocate with him. Hopefully it won't be maybe for me it'll probably be many, many lifetimes, but we hope for these things. We hanker. We know that day come, you see. Prabhupada told me that I should do this, and this is what will happen. So hankering. So the more we actually take up this mood of assisting Lord Chaitanya, that day comes closer, closer, closer. We can have that personal reciprocation with Lord Chaitanya. But in the meantime, we have his wonderful devotees we can reciprocate with. It's like now we have Sheshaka Prabhu here, wonderful Chaitanya man. We have his wonderful Sangha, you see. We reciprocate with the representative, you see. So yeah, we should keep this mood very, very strong in our hearts, that I must fully dedicate myself to helping Lord Chaitanya in his endeavor to deliver all the conditioned souls. I must take up this preaching mood. And it's really practical. I mean, in my own experience as a preacher, you learn a lot by reading the books, but it's amazing. When you go out for preaching, people ask you things, or you're put in situations you didn't read about in the books, but then the super soul will give you the answer. I'm sure you've had that experience. You're out there, you just don't know what to say, and boom, there it is. There it is. So a lot of my realizations that I've had, the tiny amount of realizations I've had over the years, a lot of it has come just when I'm out there preaching, and I don't know what to say, but boom, Krishna gives me the realization of how to answer their question. So if you don't preach, you don't get that experience. You just stay in the comfort of the temple, doing some puja or something. So everybody should go out for preaching works, because you're there, you're all by yourself, maybe and it's you. You have to represent the whole disciplic succession now. Some challenger has come forward, and now it's up to you. There's no senior devotee there who can answer it for you. You got to answer it. Now you have to represent the whole disciplic succession. So preaching puts you in a very, very wonderful hot seat. Very sublime hot seat. Go after preaching activities. And you can get so many realizations from it. So yes, everyone should preach. And Prabhupada said everyone should join the Sankirtan party as soon as possible. That was his direct order. And he wrote a letter in Los Angeles temple. So Jambavati, you had a question?
Yes, Gurudev. Do we have to be qualified to be preachers, or is there some point when we know, okay, I'm qualified, I can go out and preach?
Actually, the more you consider yourself unqualified to preach, that is your qualification. What is my qualification? Kali Yuga monster. But if I simply, humbly act as a representative of my Guru Maharaj, of Srila Prabhupada, Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, Lord Krishna, it's like a messenger. It's like somebody works for FedEx company, right? Their job is to deliver these FedEx packages. Not to tamper with them. You don't open them up and add something or subtract something. It's your duty to deliver this package to this address, that's all. The FedEx employee, that's your duty. So that's our duty. We're Krishna X employee, Krishna Express employees, you see. It's our duty to deliver these packages, these books, and this message, and this prasadam to all these addresses. Every address, which address? Every address in the whole world. Every address. Every house up this street, every house down that street, every store, every person walking down the street, everybody is an addressee of Krishna Express. And here's your parcel, Prabhupada's books, this knowledge, this prasadam, this sangha, this kirtan. Now you deliver it to every address in the whole material world. That's being a good Krishna Express employee, you see. Your qualification is just be dutiful, do your job, that's all. You have to be a senior, you have to have seniority with a Krishna Express company to be entitled to go out and deliver Krishna Express packages? No. It's your first day on the job. You just do your duty, that's all. That's all you got to do. Do your duty. But don't open the package and add or subtract. Then you're a rascal and you're fired immediately. Deliver it as it is. Don't add to, don't subtract, simply as it is. Evam parampara praptam imam rajarshayo vidu. You deliver it as it is. And then you're the greatest preacher. Immediately, your first day, you're the greatest preacher immediately because you deliver the goods without subtraction or addition. But don't think, oh, now I'm a great preacher. So I can add and subtract from the message. No, we always think, I'm not qualified. I'm just a peon, one of Prabhupada's peons, to deliver Prabhupada's the supervisor of the Krishna Express company. You see, I'm just here to deliver the packages. It's my lifetime duty for all of eternity. It is simply my duty to deliver what I have heard from Srila Prabhupada and those who are strictly following Srila Prabhupada. That's all. Okay? Yes, Prabhu?
You say don't add or subtract, but can we code it? Like, we don't say, like Prabhupada said, we should say, hey rascal, become Krishna consciousness.
Yes, actually it is called Desha Kalapatra. You have to present it according to time, place, and audience. In other words, it's not that you just go out, you memorize lines from Prabhupada's books and you can't say it in your own words. Then you will not be a very effective preacher. You should know the words of Prabhupada. You should be able to quote the verses, and you should have the quotes there as authoritative reference. But then when you're actually speaking to people, you have to tune in to the vibes of that person, tune into the consciousness, the psychology of that person, and connect with that person. So that means you have to adjust the message according to the audience. If you're in a Muslim country, you preach in one way. If you're preaching to atheists, you preach in. If you're going to a rock concert, wherever you are, you plug into that atmosphere. You connect with people in such a way that they're inspired to hear from you. But one of the greatest tricks or techniques that our Gopal Bhatta Prabhu one time related to at a meeting we had in New Vrindavan. People will hear from you if they like you. If they don't like you, they don't want to hear from you. If they like you, they like to hear from you. So how do people like you? They have to feel you like them. So for preaching, that's very, very important. It's essential. You have to relate to such people, they really feel, wow, this guy really likes me. You see? He really likes me. So I like him. Okay, now I'll hear from him. So the likability is a very, very important thing for preaching. Prabhupada was the most likable, lovable person you could ever imagine. He charmed everybody. Everybody loved Prabhupada. Even they become devotees, everyone loved Prabhupada, you see. So we have to, that likability, that lovability, you see, that's a very, very important thing in preaching work. Don't be an impersonalist. Be a real person, a living, loving, liking person, you see. And preach to them in such a way that you connect with them, that they get excited and enlivened, you see, by you. So you have to connect with them. And then they'll open their heart and you can inject the medicine, Bhagavad Gita, convince them to take up literature, etc. Anything else? Yes?
You're known as the Guru of loving kindness. How do you get that loving kindness? How can we cultivate loving kindness in our hearts so that
right now, it's a fact, we're kind of stone-hearted, Kali Yugites. So how do we actually come out of our shell and manifest compassion in our dealings? That's a really good question. The answer is we already have it. It's just buried deep beneath all that lust, that kama, krodha, lobha, madha, moha, matsurya. It's there, but it's just buried. So if you act as an agent of Krishna on the order of your spiritual master, and the order of Lord Chaitanya, Jadi Dekatadi Kaha Krishna Pradesh, you act as an agent. That acting as a surrendered agent of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu's order that you should preach to everybody, that surrender to Gauranga will purify you. And it will help that actual love you have in your heart for Krishna and all of it, and Krishna as parts and parcels that's already there dormant within you, that will come out. And actually Prabhupada very nicely explains the easiest way to conquer your material mind is to preach to materialists. So the more we actually go out and try to give Krishna to others, that will conquer our own impersonal materialistic tendencies. So just do it on the order of Lord Chaitanya, the order of Srila Prabhupada, the order of your spiritual master. Just go out and preach and give Krishna consciousness. And then by doing that, just doing it dutifully, to the best of your sincerity, then all of those things that are blockage in the heart that make it hard to actually love people, they'll become purified. So we become purified, they become purified, the whole world becomes purified, but the more we engage in the Sankirtan activity. That's why it's called all auspicious, you see. It benefits me, it benefits you, it benefits every living, even the plants, even the microbial germs floating in the air. When Sankirtan Yoga is going on, the whole atmosphere becomes transformed. Anything else? Yes?
Is it the soul's free will to choose between sense enjoyment and taking up this mercy? It is a free will?
Is it free will that...
It is a soul free will to choose.
Yeah, he can choose whether he wants to surrender to Krishna or not. Yeah. Yeah, it's free will. Some people say, well, why is God so cruel to give us free will? Why don't he just keep us in the spiritual world? This is a defect in God, that he gave us free will. But I asked him, well, if you're raising a kid, why don't you just chain him to his bed so he never gets in any trouble? Would that be love? Would that be a loving parent? I'm just going to chain my kid to his bed. He'd spend his whole life chained to his bed. Give him a bowl of food a couple of times a day. Let him go to the bathroom. But other than that, we keep him chained to his bed. We love him, so we don't want him to get in any trouble. No, that's cruelty. To raise a child, you give him your love, give him the freedom, you see. You hope he'll love you in return, but you can't force him. You fully give your love to the child and give him the freedom to do what he wants with his freedom. So Krishna is like that. He doesn't want robots or prisoners in the spiritual world. You see, he doesn't want a Goloka Vrindavan to be convict loka. You see, a bunch of convicts forced to stay there by brute force. He wants people who are there out of their own spontaneous, loving mood. You see, so therefore free will has to exist. And those who abuse it, there's a rehabilitation center for them. It's called the material world. Because he wants them back as soon as possible. Krishna sends us here for rehabilitation. Because he wants us all there as his loving associates. Anything else? Yeah?
Do we have to have a certain intelligence in order to make an informed decision of whether to serve or to be a convict?
To serve or to...
Be a convict?
Be a convict. Actually, intelligence is required. So we get that intelligence by hearing. The more you can hear from Guru, from Shastra and from Sadhus, Vaishnavas, the more you hear, you get intelligence. That hearing is the key. Prabhupada told us in his own case also, that hearing was the key. He was very, very addicted to hearing from his Guru Maharaj. Actually, Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur, he spoke in very, very erudite English, the materialistic demeanor, cannot possibly stretch to the transcendental autocrat, etc. And so there was a Vrindavan Parikrama. Every night they were going to a different place. And so there was a choice. In the evening you could go for Parikrama, for Darshana, or for the lecture. That was the choice. In Vrindavan the nightlife is Darshan. Even today, in the temples, very, very popular in the evening, everyone goes to the temples, especially Radha Krishna Balaram and also Banki Vihari Mandir, Radha Raman temple also, very popular in the evening time, you see. So, in the evening you can go for darshan or you can go hear the lecture. So, mostly these are Bengali boys, they don't speak English or hardly any English at all. So they're all going to the darshan, they're not coming for the lecture. Only a few sannyasis and one pharmaceutical businessman from Allahabad named Abhay Charan. He said, I would understand, I would not understand, but still I would go on hearing. So that's the key. And actually, just like in ISKCON, when somebody, for initiation, the local devotees are recommended the spiritual master. Same thing in Gauriya. So they recommended, from the devotees in Allahabad recommended, oh, Guru Maharaj, we'd like to recommend this Abhay Charan for initiation. He said, oh yes, he hears very nicely. I will accept him, you see. So this hearing is very, very essential thing. Prabhupada said, because I have heard nicely, now I can speak nicely. So if you want to get the intelligence, you have to hear, and read. Reading is silent hearing. But so read, hear, go on with this hearing process. And then your intelligence will become very, very strong. And you'll be able to see clearly the difference between material life and spiritual life, and you won't be tempted by the senses anymore. Because you see very clearly the distinction. This is the pathway to Golok, this is the pathway to hell. You'll see very clearly. If you come to the fork in the road and there's two signs, it's very clear distinction. Goloka Vrindavan and hell. Which road will you take, you see? But if your intelligence is not developed, you may not think, well, I've never heard of Goloka Vrindavan. Hell might be some town out in West Texas, I don't know. You get bewildered, you see. But when you have proper intelligence, when you have a good roadmap of the heart, so you can see clearly, this road goes here, this road goes there, and you don't make the mistakes anymore. Yeah.
It is 8:45. We have a lot of things to do.
Okay. So we'll stop here, and we thank you all very, very much for coming together here today, here in Austin, for this wonderful marathon and this wonderful Bhāgavatam. Śrīla Prabhupada ki jai.